innovations, uses of technology, and so this presentation is kind of a summary of some of the things that we've been working on. Originally, the Museum of Islamic Art opened, the library opened in 2012, and this was the first museum library in the region, and originally founded as a research library for scholars. But once the library actually opened, we quickly realized that we needed to adapt the services of the library not to be a scholarly library, because our audience were actually school groups, tourists, families, locals, and expats, while researchers were probably one of the last groups to come to the library. So this presentation is a discussion of how the Museum of Islamic Art has been working on increasing its visitor numbers. So here's quickly our agenda. So we're just going to begin with doing an introduction to the Qatar Museums Authority, which is the main sort of overarching part of the museums, the Museum of Islamic Art and the Museum Library. Then Rana's going to talk about the literature review that we did in order to write our paper. And then we're going to get into the subject of the events, exhibitions, and technology. Then we've also done a SWOT analysis to really have a good understanding of our audience and how our programs are working. And then finally, we'll just round it up with a conclusion. So Qatar Museums was created in 2005, and it combines all the resources of all the museums in Qatar to transform it into the cultural capital of the Middle East. Qatar created a National Vision 2030, which focuses on art, education, and sports. The vision reflects the mission set out by, or it's reflected through the goals of the museum, which are set out by our chairwoman, Sheikha Al-Mayasa. Here you can see in the pictures the openings of each of the museums under Qatar Museum Authority. So in 2008, you had the Museum of Islamic Art opening. In 2010, Mataf, which is the Museum of Modern Arab Art. And then we're really excited for in 2019, next year, the National Museum of Qatar is going to be opening, and the Sports Museum will also open. So the Museum of Islamic Art is the flagship project of Qatar Museums. It's a world-class collecting institution, preserving, researching, exhibiting masterpieces spanning 3 continents and 13 centuries. MIA is a knowledge center for research, creativity, reaching a wide global audience and serving as a hub and a dialogue for cultural exchange. This just shows you some of the past exhibitions, temporary exhibitions that we've had at the Museum of Islamic Art. Probably one of our biggest blockbuster shows was the Hajj exhibition back in 2014 and Marvelous Creatures in 2015. We really noticed that the number of visitors that come to see the museum temporary exhibitions also affects the number of visitors visiting the library. So exhibitions are really interlinked with what happens in the library, and we're going to talk a little bit later about the Powder and Damask Islamic Arms exhibition, which is quite an exciting one for the library. Okay, MIA Library is opened in 2012, as I've already said, and it's one of the first libraries in the region, and it was also one of the first public libraries actually in Qatar. At that point, the Qatar National Library hadn't opened, so the library that Rana is now working for actually only opened in 2018, in April this year. We are considering MIA Library a blueprint for the other Qatar Museum libraries that are going to open, so for the National Museum Library and for the Sports Museum Library. We have a collection of over 20,000 books in English, Arabic, and several other languages. The majority of the books focus obviously on Islamic art, and we have 5 collections. We have a scholars collection,